Hey guys, quick addendum real quick to the video I did on where to start at, getting started, that sort of thing. As a couple of you pointed out, there was a small little detail that I completely forgot to mention. Apologize for that. Sometimes I can forget that some of the stuff that just seems kind of automatic to me, I forget to mention because it might not be an automatic thought to somebody else. So again, apologies. One of the things I failed to mention in that video was in getting started and just getting set up with your stuff, one of the items that you want to have is a good knife. It should be self-explanatory, but I know it's not, and I just forget about it because I've just always got a knife with me. So it's just not something I all the time remember to mention. I've got separate videos on some of the knives that I have and use and why and suggestions and choices, but I'll just real quick throw up a couple here, and again kind of keeping in mind more just getting started out, right? Now the ones that I'm going to show you, it's not meant to be all inclusive. There's a lot of good options out there. What I would urge you to do just starting out is, it's easy to get wrapped up in the knife world, kind of like the gun world. You see something that's all fancy and shiny and you get that barracuda googly eye. Try to reel that in just a little bit. You don't have to spend a ton of money to get a good knife. And sometimes real fancy featured knives aren't in practicality all that actually useful, okay? So try to keep under $100 if you can. I think that's pretty easy to do and still come away with a functional quality knife, alright? So just a couple. There's other options out there. I don't have them all, right? One of the first ones that I would suggest as a good all-around general purpose knife, if you're just starting out and you want to have something that's big enough to do some survival task with, smaller type task, and small enough to do camp tasks, that sort of thing with, believe it or not, is this Gerber Strong Arm. Okay, you can get it in this coyote color. You can also get it in plain black. The sheath on it is really functional. It may seem kind of complicated at first, but once you play with it a minute, you can figure out it makes it really easy for mounting on MOLLE webbing, for mounting on your belt, for just lots of available mounting options for this. The knife itself is really good size in my opinion. Okay, it's big enough that you can hold it and control it. It's got a comfortable grip. The blade profile is right so that you can do the kind of things we need to do with a knife. Not like TV or Hollywood, but reality. Lots of really good reviews on this knife per se. If you just look around YouTube, go over to one of my favorite knife channels at Gideon's Tactical. I mentioned this when I put up my video before on this. I don't really review these, I just kind of tell you the ones that I like and that's it. But if you want like a more technical review, go check out his video on it. For around $50 give or take, depending on where you can find it on Amazon or whatever, it's a really good knife and a really good buy, especially if you're just going to have one knife for a while starting out. Another similar size knife is the Schrade SHCF 42D. Okay, this is a really good size knife like the Gerber. It's big enough to do things with. It's not a big old giant machete. It's still small enough to be controllable to do other tasks with. And this one you can get probably for around 30 or 40 bucks on Amazon, depending on, the price goes up and down, so just depending on what day you catch it on. The sheath is just a leather sheath, so it's not quite as versatile per se as like on the Gerber, but it works. It does what you want it to do. You can put it on a belt, stick it in the pack, whatever. And I'm sure you could probably get somebody to do a Kydex version of it if you wanted. It's probably not out of the question. for the money, a good companion to go with the 42D is the SHCF 55. It's designed by the same guy who does the 42D, only this one's just a lot smaller. So for like smaller, more simplistic, camp chores, personal chores, this one's a really good choice. And again, it's got a fairly decent little sheath with it. They make a good combo together for a smaller knife and a medium-sized knife. Another one that I'm a big fan of and have right here is this Becker BK16. Just have one knife to get you going. That BK16 is a phenomenal knife. I actually dropped my SE4 in favor of this one because I like this one better than I do the SE4. Again, it's not going to break the bank. It ain't all fancy and crazy, but it's a great, startup survival knife to get you going. Knives are kind of one of those things. They're tools, and you got to have oftentimes multiple tools in your toolbox because it's easier to have to do a job with the right tool for the job. Knives fall into that category. Doesn't mean you got to have a dozen of them to start out. There's lots of options. Okay, if you want to step up a little bit more, you can go to something like the Becker BK7. If you want a larger, 7-inch bladed survival knife, this is a good one. I'm a big fan of pretty much the entire Becker line. There's not really any bad ones, quote unquote, per se in that line. So anything from Ka-Bar in the Becker line that you see that you think might fit the purpose, I'd jump on it. Most of them are under $100. Of course, I had some Kydex sheaths made for mine. They come with a polyester nylon sheath that it's not anything to get excited to write home about, but it's also plenty functional. It's nothing fancy, right? So if you want a bigger knife, again in the Becker line, the BK9, that's a good one. Again, just depends on what you want, how big of a knife you want. This one's probably on the larger side if you're just starting out and just want one. If you're just going to have one to get going, I'd recommend like the BK7 or shorter. Stick to the 7 to 5 inch blade area for a big knife and down. In fact, speaking of the Beckers, or the Ka-Bars rather, a plain standard Kraton handled Ka-Bar, the actual Ka-Bar, that's a perfectly good general purpose knife. If you just had to grab that one knife and go with it, it'd work fine. Okay, so I'm not going to just go on for hours about these. Good knife needs to be part of your plans. Failed to mention that in the previous video. Just wanted to add to that and make sure I verbally mentioned it. Doesn't have to be anything big or fancy. Just decent blade, good quality. Keep it sharp and learn how to use it. Having a knife's kind of self-explanatory. All I need to say about that. Going to add this in and just put a link back to the other video. Take care, stay safe. See you in the next one.